well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tricia Clark, Director of Institutional Marketing and Communications. Thank you for attending this afternoon's press conference, both here and online. Our prepared announcements will take several minutes, after which time President Gehring and staff members can answer your questions in person, and we will also be monitoring questions and comments online. Today's speakers are John Gehring, President, and Pam Thiessen, VP of Institutional Advancement. They are joined by Heidi Hoskinson, VP for Enrollment Management, and Megan Kirshner, Dean of Vocational Development, starting July 1st, 2022. I now invite President Gehring to the podium.
Thank you, Tricia, and welcome to those of you who have joined us here in person. We appreciate your presence, and for those of you joining on our streaming platforms. We have good news to share today, but I first wish to provide some context. In October of 2022 of this year, Bethel College will celebrate 135 years of existence here on the Kansas Plains, where it was founded with the sole purpose of educating students in a religious but non-sectarian setting. Then, as they are now, faith, hope, and charity, or love, were the biblically inspired words that permeated the college. Bethel was the first Mennonite institution of higher education in the United States. But it started when business owners from Newton and a handful of Mennonite leaders came together and drafted the charter documents. This act of courage and innovation was met with financial support from the denomination and the surrounding community. Across time, Bethel has benefited from the generosity of its alumni, donors, broader church community, and foundations. At critical moments in its history and in the history of the country, through wars, depressions and recessions, boom times and changing times, people have provided financial gifts that sustained and transformed the institution. We are now at another critical moment, this time in higher education. As a lifelong participant in the higher education enterprise, I pay attention to what's happening in our enterprise. And since 1978, the cost of tuition and fees in American higher education have increased 1,225%. Over the same time period, the Consumer Price Index, a measure of household incomes, has increased only 279%. Other frequently mentioned consumer items, like medical expenses, have increased 634%, and food, 257%. Those are the data. The obvious conclusion is that the investment in higher education is more difficult for students and their loved ones to make. The higher education system, which remains foundational to a happy and productive life, asks more of students and their loved ones than at any point in history. And the reality of financing of higher education is it takes a combination of support from parents and guardians and friends. And students benefit from grants, scholarships, and loans. It's hard to save enough at higher rates of return to afford the increasing cost of college. Scholarships from donors are one of the most important ways that the college experience becomes more accessible. And today we want to share with you a gift that will make the Bethel experience more accessible for generations to come. It is with profound gratitude and deep admiration that Bethel College has received and accepted the estate of Dortha and Grant Sundquist, totaling $7.25 million. At the wishes of Dortha, the entirety of these funds have been placed in the endowment. The principal will remain there into perpetuity, and the earnings used for student scholarships. Her gift and its position in the endowment underscore the fundamental purpose of an endowment, and that's intergenerational equity. This gift is the largest single gift in the 135-year history of Bethel College, and it is a transformative one in ways that we will describe in a moment. Right now, however, I invite Pam Thiessen to share more about Dortha and the amazing life she lived. Pam, the podium is yours.
Thank you, President Gehring. While I'm sharing about Dortha's life this afternoon, this will not capture all of who Dortha was as a person, but I hope it gives you just a small flavor of who she was. Dortha Hubert was born and raised in Henderson, Nebraska, and attended the University of Nebraska-York and Kearney State College, earning a teaching degree. She taught for several years before attending Bethel College, majoring in biology and psychology, graduating in 1957. One note of interest early on about Dortha: she was an adventurous spirit. She and a girlfriend drove to Alaska, braving 1,000 miles of gravel and barely improved roads in their early 20s. So folks, we're talking about the 1950s and 60s here. After completing additional technical training, Dortha was the first medical technician at her hometown hospital in Henderson, Nebraska, and also worked at Bethel Deaconess Hospital in Newton, Kansas. Later, she became head of hematology department at St. Luke's Hospital in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Then, while employed at Showitz Hospital in Waterloo, her assignment was to establish a school for medical technologists. In 1967, Dortha married Grant L. Sundquist and joined Bloom Manufacturing Incorporated as a partner in Independence, Iowa. Bloom Manufacturing custom makes winches. The business sold in 2000, and Grant Sundquist passed in 2003. Dortha's responsibilities at Bloom encompass just about all activities except for manufacturing. She managed purchasing, personnel and human resources, accounting and bookkeeping, insurance and risk management, and handling the payables and receivables. During their life together, Dortha and Grant enjoyed traveling to many different locations with family and friends. They shared a love of flying, and Dortha was the first woman to have her pilot's license at the Independence Airport. Grant and Dortha were instrumental in bettering the community and helping other people in many ways. Dortha was the first woman Rotarian in Independence. She served on the board of directors of Iowa Public Television and served on various church committees and gave generously to her church, her alma mater, and various community and educational organizations. Dortha was a very private and understated person who needed her space. She was a shining example to many of us who were privileged to know her. Her philosophy of life is best stated in her own words when she was interviewed by the Cedar Valley Food Bank, and I quote, "I think you have to be involved in order to live. You have to do something for somebody. It may not be something big, it may not be noticed by anybody else, but you have to have that satisfaction that you have done something for somebody else," end quote. Dortha exemplifies Bethel's values of vocational discernment, high standards and expectation, creative approaches in community with global consciousness. Dortha forged paths as an active member of her church, family business in leading science and lab technologies, and flying a plane. Dortha remained engaged at Bethel throughout her lifetime, and her relationships with Sandra Kuntz and Fred Gehring lead us here today. The relationships and legacy of Dortha continue to transform Bethel and our students through scholarship. Dortha Hubert Sundquist passed November 4, 2020, but what a mark she left. We remember Dortha as an adventurer with a spirit of developing a better world around her, no matter what vocation she chose. a life well lived. I turn the podium back to you, President Britton.
I don't know about you, but I want to clap. So let's give Dortha a round of applause. Thank you, Pam. Dortha's generous estate gift was not an accident. It was not a matter of luck. I want to thank not only Pam, but Sandra Kuntz, former Vice President for Institutional Advancement, and Fred Gehring, former Director of Development, and other past members of the Institutional Advancement Office who visited Dortha, talked with her, and developed a relationship with her. Sandra and Fred, I know you're in the audience. If you'll just raise your hand so people can see you. Thank you for your excellent work. Your actions in the past and your relationship with Dortha made it possible for her to give the gift and also for many of our students to experience a Bethel College education. Our Heritage Roll of Honor continues to provide a way for people who love Bethel College to provide estate gifts that make a lasting impact on our students and on society. As I said at the top of my comments, Bethel College has been sustained and transformed by donors across its 135-year history. And I'm grateful for the many endowed scholarships that have been gifted to the college in the past. In the context of escalating costs, they have made it possible for us to provide financial assistance to nearly all of our students. Because higher education is asking more of you as students and families, it's natural to ask what we can do to help. I take that responsibility seriously, and in 2018, I convened a group of campus leaders, including board members, students, faculty, and staff, to reimagine the mission and vision of the college in the context of our modern challenges. Out of that work, a new part of our mission was adopted in 2019, practical experiences in career pathways. Right now, all Bethel students are required to undergo a course of instruction in faith formation and the liberal arts. And starting in fall 2024, all students will also participate in the Career Pathways program. The program provides a job for every year a student is enrolled and is in good standing. Scholarships applied toward tuition, a work transcript, and support for preparation for employment. I never want a student to be held back by the phrase, experience is required, or not have references, or not have a network of people who know them. But this program is much more than just about a job, much more than an increase and return on investment for our students. We think of it as vocational. Vocation is a response to what you feel called to do based on your strengths and gifts. It is what you can offer the world to make a better place through service, through creativity, and through leadership. Vocational discernment is spending time discovering and reflecting on how your greatest desires can meet the greatest needs of the world. This is what Dortha did during the course of her wonderful life. She had many, many strengths and gifts, vocational range that was amazing. She earned college degrees, she flew, she adventured, and she helped others. She gained the skill and talent to move seamlessly across lines of work as the situation around her changed. You know that you're in your vocation when everything feels right, when life is good, when there's synchrony, happiness, deep fulfillment. It's when you flourish and those around you flourish. And that's our vision here at Bethel College. Bethel is interested in the whole person education that takes place on our residential campus. Our small enrollment size makes it possible for every student to be in community and create for themselves meaningful lives of work and service, while having that wonderful and fun experience of being a thresher, whether that's playing on athletic teams, singing in the concert choir, or participating in forensics. I think Dortha would have appreciated our focus on human flourishing. She lived a full and meaningful life, giving generously of her time and talents, and embracing the humanity around her in her own unique way. I want that for all our graduates. Upon her passing, Dortha provided a robust financial foundation for the Career Pathways program, and more generally for the support of our students, for which we are grateful. "You have to do something for somebody," she wrote. Well, thank you, Dortha, for what you've done for Bethel College and its students. Thank you again. We'll now take questions. It's been a while since I taught in the classroom, but I really practiced at waiting 10 or 15 seconds for somebody to say something. Okay, hearing no questions and seeing none online, then we'll conclude. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy the time with each other, and best wishes.